Good day, and thank you for watching. If you're a tenant in California and you're thinking about renting out your apartment or part of it to someone else, there is one issue you need to understand before you take that step. That issue is subletting, and it is a critical one to understand. Because doing it the wrong way can lead to serious consequences, including eviction from your home. Let's start with the basics. Subletting means you, as the tenant, rent out all or part of your rental unit to another person. That person who takes over part of your lease is often called a subtenant. Now here's the key point you must remember. Even if you bring in a subtenant, your original lease does not go away. Even with a subtenant, you are still the one responsible to the landlord. That includes rent, damages, and compliance with the lease. Now here's where many tenants make a mistake. They assume they can sublet whenever they want. But that assumption is not always true. Your lease is the first place to look. Some leases prohibit subletting entirely. Others allow it, but only with the landlord's written consent. And obtaining that consent is incredibly important. Now let's talk about what happens if you sublet without permission when it is required by your lease. That can be considered a violation of the lease, and that violation can lead to a notice and potentially an eviction. Now let's talk about specific situations where subletting may be allowed. If your lease allows it, or if it is silent on the issue, you may still need to notify the landlord and request approval. In some cases, landlords must act reasonably when considering a request. But as with any legal matter, the details really do matter. Now let's discuss the difference between a subtenant and a roommate. If you remain in the unit and share it with someone else, that person may be considered a roommate rather than a subtenant. But even in that roommate situation, your original lease terms still apply to you, and there may still be requirements for approval. Now let's discuss the importance of proper documentation. If you are going to sublet, everything should be in writing. Your agreement with the subtenant, be sure to clearly define the terms of rent, and you must specify the duration of the agreement, and defining their specific responsibilities for the unit, because if there is a dispute, those documents will matter. Now let's talk about rent and your responsibilities. As the original tenant, you are still responsible for paying the landlord. This remains true even if the subtenant does not pay you. Remember that this financial risk is yours alone. Now let's address another important point, legal liability. If the subtenant causes damage or violates the lease, you may be held responsible, because your primary agreement is with the landlord, not the subtenant. Now let's talk about the timing of these situations. Subletting is often considered in situations like temporary relocation, travel, or financial need. But before making that decision, you need to consider whether it is allowed and how it will be handled. Now let's discuss how to approach communication. If you are considering subletting, communicate with your landlord. Ask for permission if required. Be sure to provide information about the proposed subtenant. It is vital to keep everything in writing, because clear communication can prevent problems later on. Now let's address a common misunderstanding among tenants. Some tenants believe that if they leave temporarily, they can simply have someone else take over. But without proper approval, that can create serious legal issues. Now let's talk about the best strategy to move forward. If subletting is allowed, you should approach it carefully. Be sure to carefully review your original lease document. Make sure you fully understand the requirements. It is essential to create a written agreement and maintain communication with your landlord. Now let's look at the bigger picture for your tenancy. Subletting can be a useful option. Doing this right can provide much needed flexibility. Doing so can help you manage your financial obligations more effectively, but it must be done within the legal framework. Finally, let's talk about managing your expectations in this process. Keep in mind that not every landlord will approve subletting, and not every situation will allow it, but understanding the rules can help you avoid costly mistakes. In conclusion, subletting in California depends on your lease and the specific circumstances. You need to understand whether it is allowed, obtain proper consent, and document everything, because doing it the wrong way can lead to serious consequences like eviction. If you're considering subletting or dealing with a dispute, don't guess your next step. Call us at 888-888-6582. I'm Vince Davis, and we are all in this together.